Top of the day to you, great and wonderful people of Biafra, lovers of freedom all over the world. Today, I just want to make common sense. I just want us to reason as to the whole entirety of the NNAMDI KANU's case with the Nigerian government. I just want us to brainstorm and I want us to air our views. And in the end, I will also give my direct message to the DSS Nigeria, because it has come to the time where we need to speak directly to the DSS. We need to talk to them directly for them to understand what they are doing and the consequences of what they are doing, their actions. Because there are consequences. There are grave consequences. Now, before I start, I want to make this known to all and sundry that MAZI NNAMDI KANU is not and never a Nigerian. He is a Biafran. He was born a Biafran. His birth certificate indicates that he is a Biafran. He was born during the war, and his birth certificate was named Biafra as his country. So he was never a Nigerian. He is a Biafran. And what is treason? Treason simply means that when someone is, acting in a way against his own country or supporting his enemies against his own country. Now, in this case, they are saying that MAZI NNAMDI KANU is acting against Nigeria. And remember, I just told us that MAZI NNAMDI KANU was never a Nigerian. MAZI NNAMDI KANU was born a Biafran. By birth, he is a Biafran. And so the passport document is just for travel sakes. The passport document is just for travel sakes and nothing more. So what he is fighting for is for the freedom of his people. The freedom of his own people, the Biafran people, and not the freedom of Nigeria or anything. It is the freedom of his own people that he is looking for. And he has committed no crime. He has done nothing wrong. Let us cast our minds back to how it all started. Let us cast our mind back to how it all started. The Biafran people came out en masse. MAZI NNAMDI KANU began to speak through Radio Biafra. He began to speak through channels to communicate to the people of Biafra. He began to tell them the ills in the present Nigerian state. He began to tell them how they are being subjugated. He began to open their eyes to realities. He began to show them evidence. His broadcast was evidence-based, because you are going to see evidence of things that he is talking about. And then the people began to key into his idea and ideologies. They began to reason. They began to make their own researches. They began to see that all that MAZI NNAMDI KANU was saying are all truths. Then they began to follow him massively. And then they decided that they would take it a step further by protesting. Now, protest is not against any government. Let us begin to put things in the right perspective. Let us know where this treason is coming from. Protest is not against any government. In fact, in the right sense, protest is one of the tools the citizens use to send their message to their government. So they protest peacefully and send their message with placards. And sometimes the mainstream media will come and interview the leader of that protest march, and they would convey their message to the government. This is a legitimate civic duty of the citizens. And as such, the Biafran people went out with placards, went out with flags, and began to protest and began to say that they are tired of what is going on and they need referendum to do what? To know if they are going to stay back in Nigeria or they are going to go their own separate ways. Now, somebody will say this referendum is against Nigeria, and as such, it becomes a treason. Let us clarify this. Referendum is never and can never be against any government. Referendum is the right of the people for them to decide on laws, for them to decide on happenings, for them to make, acceptable decisions in the country. Referenda is advised. And so people use referendum to, get the minds of the people. What are the people saying about this particular law, about this particular thing, about this particular process? What is the mind of the people? And so you conduct a referendum to know what the people want. And so the people are saying, conduct a referendum as a government. Let us say, are we really interested in being part of this country, Nigeria, or we want to go our own separate ways? And so the government can never and cannot claim that a desire or a burning desire or a request for referendum is a treasonable felony. Now, if you say it is not part of the Constitution of Nigeria, it is part of the law in I think it's the African Union, AU. It is part of it. It is part of the humans and people's rights. And Nigeria is a signatory to the humans and people's rights. And part of that humans and people's rights is the provision for referendum, is the provision for self-defense. And as such, Nigeria is a member of that particular humans and people's rights, and they are a signatory to it, and as such, it is binding on them to observe referendum. Now let us move forward. What else happened after this whole incident? People began to ask questions. What is happening? The protests began to go on, and then the police began to shoot at innocent protesters. They began to harass innocent protesters. Some were pied. Many were arrested. Some were pied. Some were hospitalized. And these people felt that, so if we do this peaceful protest, if we come out peacefully to air our views to the government, they will buy us. They will buy us and they will not listen to us. How then do we send our message to them? They began to do sit at home. In protest, they began to do sit-ins. Now, these sit-ins became a problem for the government again. Why don't you listen to the problems of the people and the aspirations of the people? You are trying to force them to come out when they are trying to tell you that there is a problem and we want you to solve that problem. But the government does not want to listen. And so they are going against innocent people who are sitting at home. They are trying to force people to come out, and they are trying to say, if you do not come out, you are going to lose your jobs, you are going to lose your business places, it is going to be locked up and all of that. And the people are saying, listen to us, hear our cries, hear our views. It used to be the government of the people, for the people, and by the people. And so when you exclude the people, you do not have a government. You do not have a government again, because the government is for the people, by the people, and with the people. So if the people are sidelined, then you do not have a government anymore. And as such, people began to query what was the intention of this government and its political leaders, representatives. These people continue to collect funds from the higher authorities to keep quiet and to shut the people's mouths. What then happened? MAZI NNAMDI KANU saw that there was intrusion. Intruders begin to come into the Biafran space to attack attack innocent farmers, to attack innocent people, to attack priests. We heard and we saw during that period how reverend fathers were being kidnapped, how innocent farmers were being butchered in their farms, how innocent farmers were being kidnapped, how innocent people were being kidnapped on the road, on the highways. It was alarming. It was becoming shocking, and people were crying, government, do something. Provide security, provide internal security, provide state security, since the police cannot solve this problem, since the army, who are stationed in various parts and in various highways, cannot solve this problem. Provide local security so these people can be able to secure themselves. What do the government do? The government of the Southeast and South, what did they do? They did nothing. They only say that they are going to create a local security, and that local security will be made up of the Nigerian police, the same police who could not arrest the issue, and now you want to make them a state police. So how do you solve the problem? Where the same people who cannot solve it, you are trying to make them to just change their name again to see if they can solve the problem. That is a kind of a mission in futility for the people, and they vehemently moved against it. What then happened? MAZI NNAMDI KANU saw the cries and cries of the people of Biafra. He decided to launch the Eastern Security Network to fight against these many marauding criminals who move with their cows and try to hurt the people. And then they moved against him. They said he has created militia against the state. But it is the same thing that the people were asking for, that the government could not do for them, that each government could not do for them, and they decided to do it by themselves. Now they are claiming that he has committed a crime. What crime did he commit than to protect himself? And it is part of the duties of the citizens to protect themselves. Self-defense is never a crime. If you are being hunted, if your life is in danger, you must, as a matter of duty, that you owe yourself to defend yourself if you have the means to do so. And that was what MAZI NNAMDI KANU did. He provided a means for the people to defend themselves, and they are doing it up to this moment. Now, what is his crime? In all of this, what is the crime of MAZI NNAMDI KANU? Ask yourself that question. Secondly, let us move into the crimes of the Nigerian government. First off, during his case, during his trial in court, he was granted bail. No, the first thing was that they shot at innocent protesters. That was a crime. That was and is a crime. Shot and buying innocent protesters, arresting innocent protesters who are observing their civic right and duties to protest and let the government know about their wrongdoings and shortcomings. And so it is a crime number one for the government. Crime number two was that during the trial of MAZI NNAMDI KANU, something happened when he was granted bail. He came out, and the Nigerian government sent their military to his house to buy him. And during the process of this, he had to escape, because it is part of your right and duty to flee away from danger when you see one. You cannot stand and your life is in danger and you remain there and allow, you allow your detractors to buy you just like that. And so he ran to save his life. And then people were buyed, both little children, both adults, both even mad people, both, were buyed during that day, and over 30 people killed. That is a second crime committed by the government. The third crime committed by the government, that this man ran away to seek refuge and to seek protection. And then in Kenya, he was kidnapped and brought back into the country. You know, that means they have violated every international law and international treaty, which is supposed to be the process they are supposed to go through, was to, you know, alert the government of Kenya and tell them that this person is in your government, in your country, and we need him to come back to Nigeria to answer certain pertinent questions. Please do allow us to bring him back. And they are going to go through a court process, and if the government of Kenya finds out that it is right for them to send back Nnamdi Kanu, they will now extradite him back to Nigeria. But they did not follow this process. They had to go and kidnap him and forcefully bring him back to Nigeria, which is a, you know, crime known as extraordinary rendition. You have seen the 3 crimes that these people have committed against MAZI Nnamdi Kanu. Now, my message to the DSS Nigeria, who are reluctant and insistent in holding this man and causing so much harm and pain to the Biafran people, because whatever pain you give to MAZI Nnamdi Kanu in that prison, you are putting the same pain to the Biafran people. My message to the DSS. You see, the last time we saw MAZI Nnamdi Kanu, forget about the way he was marching like a soldier. In this video, you are going to see him marching like a soldier. Forget about the way you see MAZI Nnamdi Kanu marching like a soldier. Let me tell you this. We have seen his picture and we have seen his facial presentation and his body looks. This man is failing in his health status. And if anything happens to MAZI Nnamdi Kanu, if anything happens to this innocent man, because we have seen that the Nigerian government has nothing against him, they have been asked to bring their witnesses against MAZI Nnamdi Kanu. We have seen that you have nothing against this man. If anything happens to MAZI Nnamdi Kanu, and God forbid he dies in that your detention, be ready to face buying everywhere you have your station. It will not be music as usual. It will not be as usual. Be ready to face buying in every of your office all around the nation, because it will not be said that an innocent man was spied in your custody. An innocent man was treated wrongly, unfairly, and died in your custody. It will not be said. Just get ready to face the music, because the people of Biafra will not remain silent and allow you to commit this heinous crime. It is better you release this man unconditionally now, or you are going to face the music. Each and every one of you that are part of the DSS Nigeria, hear us today. This is the cry of the people. And if you do not want to listen, you are going to face the crime. You are going to face the music when the time comes. If anything happens to that man, because we have seen he is failing in his health, and it is as a result of your poisoning. We know, and we have heard situations and cries and information of MAZI Nnamdi Kanu being poisoned. This is a message to you all. You better heed to it or face the people. Thank you. Biafra first.